Hey guys, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to be updated every time I make a new video. Thanks, let's begin. She's back and ready to party.
Now it begins.
Night of the Demons 2. This is the 1994 sequel to the late 80s cult classic, Night of the Demons. Check out my review up here if you haven't seen it already. The plot! So there's this happening party at a Christian school or Catholic school or whatever, and a few kids decide to go skip it and go to Hull House to have a better time. But they take something back with them when they leave that party. A lipstick canister. And in that lipstick canister is demons. Who will survive the night of the demons? It's got some creative ideas and faithful continuity for sure. Like how Angela is not able to cross the underground stream, but does so in a creative way. First of all, the director, Brian Trenchard Smith, who also directed Leprechaun 3 and 4, as well as Aztec Rex and many other fun films, wanted to provoke a bunch of different religions and ideologies with this movie. He used sinister jokes about Catholicism and sin, but it was all in good fun. It isn't politically correct either. This movie just does not give a damn. This is definitely campy horror, and it's not meant to be taken too seriously. But it still wants you to care about the characters. While they're not as memorable as the first movie's cast, I still think they're strong enough. Sister Gloria, played by Jennifer Rhodes from Night Creature and Slumber Party Massacre 2, is the badass nun. She, at first, is quite strict, and you don't really like her. But as the movie goes on, she reveals her beads. She's also a fencing expert. She has a lot of stuff she can do to fend off the forces of evil. Bibi, played by Christy Harris from Night of the Scarecrow, is nice to look at. She doesn't really do too much to fend off the demons. In fact, she's kind of the reason they're out to begin with. But at the same time, she's nice to look at. Rick, played by Rick Peters from Leprechaun 4 in Space, has some pretty cool moments. He fights off the demons, he kicks across into a boarded up window, and like, how did you even manage? Perfect craftsmanship, I have to say. Perry, played by Robert Jane, you know, Melvin from the Tremors franchise, which I didn't even know until I was writing my review for this, and I was like, huh? He's the nerdy demonologist of the group. He likes to study stuff about demons, which is against the Catholic Church. So it's like, you're crossing the line, Perry. Kurt,
ladies call me King Snake,
played by Laddie York, who was also in Leprechaun 4 in Space, is the jock of the group, although he and Rick are kind of like the same, but Rick's a nicer guy, I guess.
Oh, the old sexorcist here thinks I stole his precious little ghoulie book.
Yeah, so?
So what would I want with a book?
Good point.
He's in this movie as the jockey, and he doesn't really do anything that nice. He's trying to get with Terry, who's played by Christy Taylor, who was actually married to Ben Stiller for 17 years. She's not useful either, but she does witness some cool stuff. Shirley Finnerty, played by Zoe Trilling, is probably the most eye-catching of the bunch, but she's also a slut and a bitch, so she's also the reason Angela is able to escape fully, not just to get out of the property, but escape from that lipstick canister, in a rather Evil Dead-esque scene. Father Bob, played by Rod McCary from Raptor, Project Viper, Komodo vs. Cobra, amongst other things, is actually the likable priest at first. But then he's like, no, demons don't exist, so we have to, you know, dismiss everything you're gonna say. It's like a role reversal from the sister to the father. You don't like the sister at first, but then you end up liking her, and you really enjoy watching the father at first, but then you don't like the priest.
And now, my spirit guide says it's time for math.
Melissa Mouse, played by Meryl Kennedy from Nemesis, is a scaredy cat. She also knows the horrors of Hull House and what it did to her sister, Angela, played by Amelia Kincaid from Night of the Demons, the original. Actually, she's also in the third one. Great horror icon in the supernatural slasher genre. She's very menacing in this movie and says some quotes from like the Bible and is like all twisting the words. She also turns into a creature at the end, which I'll have to highlight. Cinematographer and director of photography David Lewis, who also worked on Night of the Demons, Witchboard 2, Leprechaun 3 and 4, and Children of the Corn 5, Fields of Terror, did decent work with the lighting and atmosphere. He also claims the film is a bit too bright and doesn't work when it comes to shadow play. The fog does sometimes add a foreboding feel. There's a nice Dutch tilt in the movie.
Oh my god. Oh, Charlie. The most horrible thing happened. Charlie, wait.
And the camera work overall is passable. Minus the shot where someone or something bumped into the camera and there's a quick jolt. Also, I'm not a big fan of stock footage. I get it, they saved time and money, but they didn't need to happen half the time. Rick didn't need to fall out the same window as Sal in the first one, and they obviously had a dolly, so why not just shoot footage of Angela gliding down the hallway like she did in the first? It's really out of place, especially because Amelia Kincaid is like 6 years younger in those shots. The furnace shot I'll let pass because it felt natural. If you can ignore nitpicky things like that, you'll enjoy this movie. The gore, the effects, Steve Johnson's XFX Inc. did excellent work on the special makeup effects, however they were uncredited on the film, which is messed up. This is definitely bloodier than the first. We get a gushy decapitation, melted corpses, a ripped off lower jaw, a nail bats to the head, bloody slashing, and a grisly explosion, and so much more. The effects are 99% practical. The last shot of the movie features a CG snake, and it looks really hokey. Also, how could you forget about the creature that Angela turns into? A snake demon. And it looks disgusting. I love it.
Where are you going? The party's just begun.
The motion picture soundtrack, Jim Mainsey composed some decent music for this flick. It reminded me of Pumpkinhead 2, probably because it was composed by the same guy. He also composed films like Blood Surf, Night of the Scarecrow, Leatherface, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Stepfather 2, Tales from the Dark Side, and more. The music has chilling keyboard work. It's not too overbearing, therefore it doesn't leave a huge impact on the viewing experience, but I enjoyed it nevertheless. Morbid Angel was used during a dance sequence with Amelia Kincaid. Most people associate the song Rapture by them in it, but there is also some Vengeance is Mine in it as well. Now, before we wrap this up, let's get into some sweet facts with Telltale Treats. This film features the same house that was used in the original, which is really cool because I really like that house's design. Too bad it was torn down later on. During the Mouse Angela dream sequence, the clock reads 666, the 6th second of the 6th minute of the 6th hour. Also, the movie had a limited release on Friday, May 13th, 1994. They even used that date to market the film. Overall, this was a fun time. Not as good as the first, but still very watchable. It has good gore, decent characters, cheesy dialogue, and a fast pace. Seriously, 50 minutes felt like 30. However, the stock footage usually didn't work as intended, and was distracting. The lighting was too bright most of the time, and while the music was solid, it wasn't too memorable besides the opening theme, and some metal tracks. Also, I wish the opening titles featured an animated sequence, like the original. However, it was white text over black background, like a lot of 90s movies. I think this is still a gruesome good time, though, and worth a watch. Just ignore some of the nitpicky shortcomings and you'll enjoy it. Overall, I give
Night of the Demons 2.
a 2.5 out of 5. Thank you all for watching, and I'm Brian Gatto, the Horror Show host. Make sure to like, comment on, as well as share this video. Like my Facebook fan page and support me on Patreon, where even $1 a month will help keep this channel going on strong, and I'd greatly appreciate it. Plus, you get access to body counts and other music videos that you cannot get on YouTube because of copyright and age restriction. Monetary support. If you want to support the channel through PayPal, it's horrorshow37@gmail.com. I'd greatly appreciate that, but if you don't want to support me with any money, just hit that notification bell to be notified every time I make a new video. And as always, subscribe.